the KMNN studios, this is the Kids Morning News Network. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Kids Morning News Network. It's May 15th, 2024, 230 days left to go this year. I'm Alex in the KMNN studio in New York. It is the International Day of Families. This holiday was founded by the United Nations, the UN, to remind us all how important families are. And that means every family. No two families are exactly alike, which is great. Families come in all different forms, and today is the day to appreciate what your family does for you. There's a rescue in the news this morning. Two wanderers in Connecticut this past weekend, just out for a nice walk, got stuck in deep mud. Unfortunately, they happened to be walking in a swamp. They sank until their legs were totally trapped. The police were called, but they quickly realized they needed more help. So they called the fire department. Eventually, a team of about 40 rescuers was at work trying to free the two victims. They used ropes, chainsaws, sleds, veterinary supplies. Yes, veterinary supplies. The two victims in this case were horses. Horses stuck up to their bellies in mud. Have you ever gotten your feet stuck in mud? It's so strong it can pull your boots right off. Now, imagine a 1,000-pound horse stuck in the mud. No wonder it took 40 people to pull them out. They did, though. They pulled the horses sideways onto big sleds, which they then slid over the mud to get them out to dry land. Both the horses were rescued safely, and none of the rescuers were injured. Everyone did get pretty muddy, though. A quick space update. The Starliner spacecraft carrying a human crew for the first time that was supposed to launch last week may blast off this Friday. And we'll, of course, keep you updated. Have you heard the song from Dr. Dolittle, If I Could Talk with the Animals? Well, researchers say they're getting a little closer to that with one of the biggest animals on Earth, sperm whales. Sperm whales can grow longer than a school bus, and they have the biggest brains of any animal on Earth. A sperm whale brain is about 6 times the size of a human's. Sperm whales are mammals like other whales and dolphins and humans. And like many other whales and dolphins, sperm whales are very social. They like to be with each other. And come to think of it, some humans are like that too. Sperm whales live in small groups, but sometimes they all get together in big gatherings of hundreds or even thousands of whales. It's like a sperm whale concert. The whales communicate with each other by making clicking noises. For many years, scientists have suspected that the clicks may be more than just random noises, that there may be patterns to them that mean different things. Language, in other words. Well, for a new study, researchers put microphones in the ocean in an area that sperm whales live in year-round. They also put tags on the whales themselves so the researchers could see what the whales were doing when they made their clicks. The team got more than 8,000 recordings of sperm whale clicks, and in those 8,000 recordings, they have figured out 4 basic patterns that could be the beginnings of a kind of sperm whale alphabet. But researchers also say that sperm whales seem to have a really advanced society for whales, and that these clicks seem kind of basic for them. So the whales may be communicating at a whole other level that we don't even know about yet. Well, if you guys know any sperm whales who want to come on this podcast and click about it, please let me know. It's riddle time. Monday's riddle was, I am a word with letters 3. Add 2 and fewer there will be. What am I? The word few. You add 2 letters to few, you get fewer. Today's riddle is, I'm a coat. It's always wet when you put me on. What kind of coat am I? A coat that's always wet when you put it on. What kind of coat is it? Find out on Friday. Happy birthday, Mickey Mouse. Mickey made his first appearance on this day in 1928, 96 years ago. That was before videos, even before TV. So Mickey first showed up in a short movie. It was called Plane Crazy. And yes, it was about a plane. 1928 was the year after a guy named Charles Lindbergh became the very first person to fly by himself across the Atlantic Ocean without stopping. And that flight made Charles Lindbergh one of the most famous people in the whole world. So Mickey's movie showed Mickey trying to be like Charles Lindbergh. He builds his own plane, he destroys it, then he builds another, then he and Minnie have a whole series of adventures. Mickey was created by an animator named Walt Disney. And there are different stories about why he created a mouse character, but he originally wanted to name it Mortimer Mouse. Walt's wife suggested the name Mickey. Mickey showed up in Plane Crazy, his first movie, on this day in 1928 when it was shown to a test audience to see if people would like this new mouse. And they didn't. They didn't like his next movie either. It wasn't until the third short movie with Mickey, called Steamboat Willie, that Mickey actually caught on. In fact, Steamboat Willie was a huge hit. They made a star not out of just Mickey Mouse, but also Walt Disney. Just in time, too. He had to sell his car to pay for finishing that film. But now we've got Disneyland and Disney World, so Walt and Mickey made out pretty well. Time for the weather. Do you like rain? If you live in the Northeast, the Southeast, or the Great Plains, I have some really good news for you. Oh yes, plenty of rain for everyone. West of the Rockies, though, you should be dry, even the Pacific Northwest, and it should be a warm day all around, wherever you are, even in the rain. All right, none of our friends, the whales. Let's end with a poem today. This one's called Sea Fever by John Masefield. I must go down to the seas again, to the lonely sea and the sky, and all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, and the wheels kick and the wind's song and the white sails shaking, and a gray mist on the sea's face and a gray dawn breaking. I must go down to the seas again, for the call of the running tide is a wild call and a clear call that may not be denied. And all I ask is a windy day with the white clouds flying, and the flung spray and the blown spume and the seagulls crying. I must go down to the seas again, to the vagrant gypsy life, to the gull's way and the whale's way where the wind's like a whetted knife. And all I ask is a merry yarn from a laughing fellow rover, and a quiet sleep and a sweet dream when the long trick's over. Well, hopefully when we do talk to the whales, they'll be able to share some poems with us. In the meantime, that's the show. Thank you very much for listening. If you like this episode, please give it a like on your podcast app and subscribe and spread the word about the Kids Morning News Network. Grown-ups, if you'd like to become a supporter, you should find a link in the episode description. I'll be back Friday, and I hope you are too. From the KMNN Newsroom, this is Alex, signing off.